afternoon and welcome to On Air with me, Corinne Hall.
And me, Matt Bryan.
The transatlantic slave trade was one of the darkest eras in global history. What may shock you is that slavery was a dominant part of Glasgow's past. Ryan McDougall reports.
Families were torn apart. Their colour was the badge of slavery.
Glasgow, a city of culture, friendliest city in the UK. I was surprised to hear that the city was so widely involved and flourished as a result of the transatlantic slave trade. Shocked and appalled, yet eager to learn more about this dark section of Glasgow's history, I decided to investigate further. My journey led me to the bonny University of Glasgow, where I spoke with Marenka, a PhD student. Marenka's research focuses on the collections of various museums throughout the city and their links to the transatlantic slave trade.
So basically Scotland was involved in the tobacco trade, especially Glasgow, but as well as sugar, because they had sugar refineries were set up, as well as cotton, because as we know the textile industry became very big in Glasgow and the surrounding areas. But then where Scotland really gets into it is in tobacco, as you mentioned earlier. And especially in the Americas, they set up these huge trading firms, and so we have people like John Glassford, Ingram Street. Glassford also has a street named from him. Virginia Place is basically named by the Buchanans, who also have one of the wealthiest tobacco trading firms. They also own plantations in Virginia. All these men usually own plantations in Virginia.
So it's interesting to see that some of Glasgow's most iconic streets are named after these men who are some of the biggest tobacco lords and thus slave owners in the country. I met up with Layla, where we discussed attitude regarding slavery in Glasgow today. She explained how a casino in Glasgow called the Cotton Club, named after a whites-only club in America, which hired black performers and black staff, glamorises the slavery era.
I think to an extent it glamorises it by having places named such as the Cotton Club, quite a controversial name in a controversial time. It feeds into an idea of ignorance. The Cotton Club opened in 1923 in Harlem to provide a stylish plantation environment for its entirely white clientele by allowing people to go and continue to party 4, 5, 6 in the morning and feed money back into an establishment which was built on slave labour. We're not going to get much further forward in our anti-racist attitude.
Layla has written to the nightclub's owner, Stefan King, asking why he has chosen to name his club the Cotton Club and hopes that he will change it.
I hope therefore you understand that having an entertainment establishment named the Cotton Club on Ingram Street in Virginia Place gives the impression of wanting to relive the time when racial traditions were most stringent and would consider renaming the venue. I don't believe that Glasgow nor Scotland's part in slavery should be hidden or denied, but perhaps a name which acknowledges and celebrates the importance of anti-racist attitudes would be more appropriate.
With desensitised attitudes towards slavery in Glasgow, I have to admit, it's embarrassing for myself, considering Glasgow is pretty much just on my doorstep. I think it's important that slavery in Glasgow is recognised as a part of Scottish history, and I believe it deserves far more exposure than it currently receives.
Joining us in studio is our correspondent Ryan McDougall. So, how big a part did Glasgow actually play in the slave trade?
Glasgow played a significant role in the transatlantic slave trade. As you could probably see in my package, there's several streets in the city that are named after either slave owners, such as your tobacco lords and whatnot, or they're inspired, they're kind of reminiscent of the transatlantic slave trade. Some of these include the likes of Glassford Street, Ingram Street, Jamaica Street, and the likes of, and there's plenty more as well, but those are sort of some of the more significant ones. The majority of Scottish slavers actually lived in Jamaica, and about a third of the white population in Jamaica were Scottish people, and it was actually the Scottish economy that benefited, I hate to use that word, but made the most revenue through the transatlantic slave trade. I can't remember exactly, but I'm certain it's something like 70% of the wealth generated in the UK went to the Scottish slave owners, and there was far fewer Scottish slave owners than there were in the rest of the United Kingdom. But I'm not sure why exactly. I think it was something to do with the actual slavery routes and stuff, means of importation and whatnot, that meant that Scotland generated the most cash out of it, essentially.
And Ryan, why do you think Glasgow's role isn't better documented?
I think, Scotland is always sort of is guilty. Us as Scottish people are guilty of portraying ourselves as the victims in history in a lot of ways. And obviously, I'm not discrediting the fact that we have been in a few ways, such as like the war for independence and whatnot, and that sort of thing. So yeah, we like to play in the fact that we have been oppressed ourselves, so we're not quite as bad as the rest. And also, I think the fact that Scotland were one of the main areas of abolition in regards to the slave trade as well comes into it, because we're more than happy to sing for the rooftops at the fact that we helped to erase such a horrible and inhumane industry, essentially, but we're really reluctant to tell others that we were some of the worst for it in many ways.
Thanks for that, Ryan. Mental health is becoming less of a taboo topic across the UK. The outcry to remove the stigma is now louder than ever, even from men who find it hard to talk about their condition. Menzies has more.
According to a report by the University of Manchester today, around 1,200 male patients take their lives each year.
The voice of grunge music takes his own life. Seattle's Kurt Cobain is dead of an apparent suicide.
The breaking news just into CNN is that actor Robin Williams is dead at the age of 63 from an apparent suicide.
Do you know what I mean? They just don't want to talk about it. Like if I was saying I was down or whatever, instead of being, oh, what's up, it's made into a joke. It's more like a taboo subject are put into these boxes where they are told that you've got to be a man, you've got to be masculine, you've got to be muscular, you've got to be athletic, you've got to be the like the breadwinner, all that stuff, all that pish.
It's a bit of a buzzword these days, but it's the toxicity of masculinity. It's when you're a man, sort of like a manly man, whatever that means. It's sort of case you're not allowed to cry, you're sort of not allowed to be sad, to be quite honest. It's a real case of, there's always been the phrase man up or grow a pair of balls.
Masculinity does play a massive role and is probably one of the biggest factors of, that can sort of bring on my anxiety.
Stigma still is a very big issue. It manifests itself in the ways that we think and talk about the mentally ill.
You would be surprised how many people deal with, anxiety, whether it's small or big, or depression on a daily basis. I mean, everyone's that I've spoken to anyway has come into contact with it in some form. People that I thought were the most confident people in the world, my brothers, my sister-in-law, one of my closest friends, he's in a really good job, he's really confident. They've dealt with, they've came from the lowest points in their life.
There's men are pushed to suicide because some of them don't really have those sort of people they can talk to about their feelings. And of course, when you feel like that, you go further and further and further down the rabbit hole until the point where you think the only way out is to kill myself here, because there's nobody to talk to about how I'm feeling to someone, to be honest. But I would say talk to someone, because the day I sort of got into the road to recovery was when I started talking to someone about it, talking to someone how I felt, and after that point.
It's only been last year or whatever that I've started talking about it more, and I have felt better. Do you know what I mean? That's good. Find better ways of dealing with it.
Ayr High Street was once a successful, blooming part of the town. Now, the once seaside hotspot is a shadow of its former self. Our reporter, Natalie Miller, took to the streets to find out just what has changed.
Here on Ayr High Street, businesses have come and go over the years as it's been losing its full potential. Shop owners are struggling as after a short while they tend to move to another place in the town or elsewhere. A popular spot for shops in Ayr has always been the Kyle Centre, but over time this has changed as they began moving their shops up to Ayr Central. The Kyle Centre was set to be getting done up with a new cinema complex and some shops moved into it, but that plan was stopped as the money was to be put towards something else. Locals are starting to lose faith in the council.
So I've been coming to the air for years and it's not the same as what it used to be. Like, you see all the shops up the high street, especially the Kyle Centre, all the shops are just closing down. Fair enough, a few of them are moving up to Air Central, but there's nothing down that end. Like, there's so much opportunity and it's just not what it used to be.
Ayr has lost two of its biggest stores, BHS and Marks & Spencer's, which is set to be closing soon, although there will still be an M&S food hall open at Heathfield.
So when nobody comes in this side of town, they're always up the top of the town. It's always in at Debenhams. That's at Air Central. They're not interested in coming down here. If it wasn't for the council, the rates, there would be plenty done. Plenty of people would bin shops. That's how everybody's getting their shops up, because they can't afford the rates. Especially in Carrick Street. Because look at all these shops that's empty in Carrick Street.
The Kyle Centre, there's a lot of wasted opportunities because a lot of shops are moving up to Air Central or out with the Kyle Centre. There's not been enough being done to try and fill the places that are there, and basically the Kyle Centre is going to rack and ruin, and there needs to be more done in it to keep people here.
River Island, Topshop and New Look have all moved up from the Kyle Centre.
If the cinema complex was there, it'd bring a lot more customers to us, because we're directly across from it. And if it actually had materialised into something, I reckon that we would have a lot more business.
As Air Central flourishes and the Kyle Centre diminishes, more money needs to be invested equally from the council. The cinema complex needs to be looked at also more carefully, as it could bring families to the town and businesses would be surviving down the high street. Ayr needs to welcome back visitors to this popular seaside town as it once was.
We're now joined in studio with Natalie. So Natalie, why do you think so many shops have closed in?
Well, it seems to be mainly big firms that are taking over areas in Ayr Central, and the likes of River Island and I know Top Man and New Look have all moved up from the bottom of the street and the Kyle Centre, which is leaving them loads of loss and opportunity down there. So it's just, I don't know.
So what do you think could be done to improve Ayr Town?
Well, I think if more business went into the Kyle Centre, they're talking about opening a cinema complex, and I think if they actually started to put money into that, like they keep doing, instead of the wasted opportunity in the Kyle Centre, then more business would be, there would be more business down there at the bottom of the high street, and also more families would be coming in because the Kyle Centre would be having loads more shops in it. You get the likes of East Kilbride shopping centre, and that has a lot to it, and there's always more going into it, so it'd be good if Ayr got that kind of business, but in the Kyle Centre.
Thanks, Natalie. Our reporter Femke Spapens visited a local Ayr business that seems to be thriving.
Came over the shop about 14 and a half years ago. I bought it off Tony, the guy that owned the shop, the guy it's named after. The shop actually was across the road where TK Maxx. There used to be a line of shops there. So he was in there for about 20 years and then transferred over here. It can be good and bad. It's got its good moments and its bad moments. Any other job up in the Republic, but that's alright. I must have been here about 15 years and I come in and that was at the end. Just slag a life out of each other and the customer get involved, and I think that's why a lot of people like it. You get a good laugh. With the customers and with each other, it's you just come in and have a laugh and everybody's relaxed and you can have a good laugh, and that's good.
And finally, Glen Park has been voted one of Scotland's best after recent renovations. Chris Doyle went along to take a look.
With Glen Park being recently nominated as one of the UK's best parks, I find out what makes it so special for its visitors.
I think Glen is a bit special because it's such a big park with so many things going on in it. So we have the boating pond, which is beautiful, and people are always out for a walk around the boating pond. It's really popular with local residents. There's lovely forested and wild areas, so you can have a little bit more of a hike around the park if you like, and the trails for that are great. And there's areas like the waterfall, which is beautiful, particularly when the Electric Glen Festival's on. And then there are the more traditional park areas. So there's what my children reassure me is the best swing park in Scotland, and there are areas for people to walk, to picnic. So really there is something for absolutely everyone.
The park hosts events all year round that have been a great success for the community.
I'm one of the rangers here, so it's my job to organise family events. So throughout the year I do one family event a month, and that's obviously events that are suitable for children. I also run a couple of events each month that are for people with additional support needs. So there's a gardening group and an art class, and that's to get people that are sometimes marginalised by society to come and use the park.
It does have so much to offer, and the community, I think, make really good use of the park. We have lots of festivals. I mentioned Electric Glen, which is great because it's a winter festival, so in the dark nights you have this brilliant lighting festival that is incredibly popular, and people come from far and wide to participate in that.
Glen has been opened for over 100 years, but was recently renovated to improve certain areas of the park.
It was part of a Heritage Lottery project where we had £3 million funding to use in the park, and we did renovated the visitor centre, did works up at the boating pond, renovated the walled garden, put the new footpath in and the new play park. I was also employed for that, and that was to kind of get more people to come and use the park. I definitely think it was successful. Our visitor numbers have gone up from about 400,000 a year to nearly 1 million a year.
It's really fantastic, and it was upgraded after a lot of feedback was sought from the local community. I think that's really important, so our children have got the facility to play exactly as they wanted, and I assume that's why it's always so popular and so busy.
What's your favourite thing about the park?
The skateboard park.
Why do you like the skateboard park?
Because you get to do stunts on your scooter and stuff.
There's lots of things to do. People do think that it is an important place to be in the community, and they really enjoy it, so we're fortunate to have that on our doorstep.
Glen is at the heart of East Renfrewshire, and it seems like it will continue to be so for future generations to come. Chris Doyle reporting for UWS Newsroom in Glen.
Now to Amy McGhee with today's news.
Thanks, Matt. Club de Mar and Ayr have extended their opening times for one night of techno music. Hazel Urquhart has been along to find out more.
Later on this month, Ayrshire Club de Mar will be playing host to a night of hardstyle techno music. For this event, they have been granted permission to extend their opening hours, and I'm here today to find out more.
They've been handing out flyers and putting up posters. The club also has a promoter based in Glasgow who runs the Facebook page. And the tickets are also on sale online at Ticket Scotland, so a lot of people from not even just there can obviously find out about this event.
There's a lot of kind of upset with some folk wanting it, some folk didn't, but I know definitely I backed it 100%. Just a lot of people expecting kind of trouble and stuff like that, an extra hour of drinking. It's just, I think folk are thinking an extra hour is an extra hour of violence, when it's not really. And obviously Club de Mar's supposedly up for sale and stuff like that, and Ayr's starting to kind of die down. So I think even that, bringing something like that in, is going to definitely encourage people to move from Prestwick back to Ayr.
The event at Club de Mar, I don't really know. I don't know much about it, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, I'm always happy to see things happening in the community like that. I'm not really sure if club events are really the way to go. I don't know if I'll be going to the event really. I guess it kind of depends what my friends are doing. I don't think the clubbing scene's that good in Ayr. I mean, maybe this event could help. I don't know. I think a lot more needs to be done though. I think it's probably a more kind of wide-ranging problem that the clubs probably have to deal with.
Although the locals may be sceptical about the attention that the event could attract, many remain hopeful that the night will be a success and could give Ayres nightlife the boost that it needs.
This week, UWS sent out accidental acceptance letters to potential students. Our reporter, Agatha Latorre, has been talking to students and getting their reaction.
Thousands of students prepare themselves each year to go to uni, and what some make it, some others don't.
UWS sent by mistake several letters of acceptance, letting down many applicants of the Ayrshire-based uni.
Have you heard from UWS telling you that you were accepted?
No, nothing yet. In fact, when I saw the news, I was a little nervous because I saw they muddled everything up, and I thought maybe my response was within those, but I got nothing back yet.
Surprised by this?
Not at all. I'm really not surprised. Just it's the administration is a reflection of what the students see in the lectures and from our professors and whatnot, which is complete and utter disorganization.
While the administration's office wasn't available, the university stated on the local paper that it was a human error and apologised to everyone involved.
At the end of the day, it's making mistakes what helps you learn.
Students at UWS Ayr campus have been given the chance to try electric bikes in the hopes of promoting cycling to university. Ryan McDougall reports.
Today, the Active Travel Hub came to UWS Ayr in order to promote a new programme which encourages people to cycle to college, university, work or school as opposed to travelling by public transport or by car. They gave people the opportunity to try out some of their new electric bicycles, which was a big hit around the university.
That's all from me. Back to you, Corinne and Matt.
Thanks, Amy. And thank you for joining. I'm Matt Bryan.
I'm Corinne Hall. Goodbye.
Goodbye.